Hey, everybody, and welcome to Adapt or Perish. In this episode, we're tackling the important subject of dudes doing their civic duty. But before we get started, I'd like to tell you about our next episode and also make an announcement. Next episode, episode number 173, will be the final episode of Adapt or Perish. This show has been an absolute joy to make over the last 8 years, but the amount of time and effort required to make it has become a bit unworkable. Also, just to be clear, nothing catastrophic has happened behind the scenes, and everyone is happy and healthy, if a bit burnt out. I'll definitely have more to say in the final episode, but I will say that the thing that made the decision hardest was all of you. Our audience may be small, but it has consistently been awesome. You've given us your time, and I hope we've delivered a show that was worth it. Thank you all for listening. So, what are we doing for our final episode? Well, we haven't shared this before, but pretty much since the show started, we've known what the final episode would be. Screenwriter Charlie Kaufman, hot off an early success with 1999's Being John Malkovich, was tasked with adapting The Orchid Thief, Susan Orlean's 1998 nonfiction book about her experiences getting to know a man who, get this, steals orchids. After a monumental struggle with writer's block, Kaufman wrote Adaptation, a meta-film about his struggle, blending fact and fiction. Directed by Spike Jonze and starring Nicolas Cage, Meryl Streep, and Chris Cooper, 2002's Adaptation is one of the strangest adaptations out there, and it was always going to be the movie we'd use to say goodbye to Adapt or Perish. You can join us in saying goodbye in 2 weeks on Tuesday, September 2nd. And now that sad bit of news is behind us, on with the show, Adapt or Perish, episode 172, 12 Angry Men. Hello and welcome to Adapt or Perish, a podcast about adaptation. I'm Jeremy Latour.
And I'm Ian Averill. And today we're talking about 12 Angry Men.
There's 12 of them.
A nice number that the human brain can understand.
And they're angry.
Yes.
Hey, I have a question for everybody. How are you all feeling? Given the piece of news that you just heard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say here at the top, I appreciate you all so much.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
This show has been so much fun to do for so long. And Ian, I appreciate so much that you came to join me almost 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it has been a great thing. And I've enjoyed spending this time together. And I'm probably going to get emotional about not doing this show anymore because, of course, my entire identity is tied to it, which is probably not a good thing. But what better episode to say that in than 12 Angry Men, an episode about how we tie our identities to the things we do, to our jobs.
And our thoughts and feelings and decisions are all dictated by by who we decide that we are.
Yes.
Arbitrarily.
I mean, arbitrary is absolutely the word to describe this show.
No, I appreciate you, man, and appreciate you inviting me to do it with you. And I appreciate the audience. I know I wasn't Ari.
Yeah, I mean it's your biggest sin, honestly.
Yeah, always has been, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. But I just wanted to help out. It was fun.
But let's do this.
Let's do it.
But we're not done yet.
Nope.
It's not over because we need to talk about 12 Angry Men. Blah, blah, blah. This has been on the backlog for a really long time, blah, 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 because it's 12 Angry Men, of course. No, the reason I always wanted to do this is because, not because it was remade in 97, because we're talking about the 1957 movie, obviously, the classic towering work of American cinema, 12 Angry Men. And it was remade in 1997, and we're going to talk about that. It's been parodied many times, and there have been international remakes of it, none of which were like at all available to watch for this, which bums me out because some of them sounded cool.
Well, especially since like this is the kind of thing where like other cultural contexts would have been like really interesting to see how that would have been adapted. You know,
absolutely.
It was kind of a shame that we couldn't really watch any of them.
Mm-hmm. But the other thing about it that I think makes it so interesting is that it itself is a remake of something that we can watch, because in 1954, 12 Angry Men was an episode of Westinghouse Studio One, an hour-long episode. It was like a weekly drama. It was performed live broadcast live, and it is available to watch. Like I love the fact that like there's a Criterion edition of 12 Angry Men, and on there is the 1954 version. And I'd never actually sat down to watch it before, but I've seen the 57 version. It's just fascinating to see that like there's such a quick turnaround, because it was also written as a play in 1955, but we can't really see that in the same way that we can see that 1954 episode of Westinghouse Studio One. So I was always really interested in doing this, and now we've watched it. So we're going to be talking about the 1954 version, the 1957 version, and the 1997 version, which was another TV version. But we'll get into who made them and everything like that. Let me take a step back for a second. What is this about? I imagine this is one of those things where there's like three groups of people. There are people who have seen it, and the people who have seen it know what it's about. There are people who haven't seen it, but have an idea of what it's about. And then there are the people who haven't seen it, who have no idea what it's about. All just knowing that it's like a jury deliberating on a case. That's my favorite group of people. I've been in that group of people for many things.
Sure.
And I hope some of them are listening to this right now, because we're going to go through the whole thing. It may be surprising. I'm not sure. But here's a quick back of the box. 12 jurors. Jurors.
The rural juror.
Yeah, they're not rural jurors. They're urban jurors.
Yeah. But
yeah. Thankfully, they're not rural jurors. Oh, the rural juror. No one's going to miss this show.
No.
12 jurors deliberate the fate of a teenager accused of murder. One man's doubt sparks tense debate, exposing biases, tempers, and shifting alliances as the group confronts the meaning of justice in a claustrophobic jury room. That's it. That's the story. Like, this whole thing starts with a judge telling everyone, hey, you've heard this whole case before. You've already heard everything. So now I'm going to send you off to the jury room where you will deliberate. And if you all agree that he is guilty, then you must deliver a guilty verdict. And if you all believe that there is a reasonable doubt of his guilt, you must deliver a not guilty verdict. Go! Do the thing. I'm going to go hang out.
They're also very specific. The judge is very specific in saying that, like, for some reason, this is guaranteed death sentence if they deliver a guilty verdict.
Murder in the first, you know?
Yeah, but I'm saying, I'm not sure that it, like, that it necessarily, well, of course, it depends on where you are, but I'm not sure it 100% works that way. But it's just very convenient that it's just saying that there's no doubt that you will be killing this person.
Yes.
By delivering a guilty verdict. That is the rules of this world that we set up. So that's convenient. Like...
Look, here's the deal. I was going to get into this later, but we may as well get into it now. I found it interesting to see people kind of analyze this movie from a legal perspective. Because what are you doing? Like, that's not what this is about.
I mean, no, I get that, but it's also like this is like one of the most fundamental pieces of art or pop culture that hammers home like the basic workings of the American justice system when it comes to murder. And I think it's an important piece. I think the legalese of it is important. Is, if not like, yes, it's like simplified, but it really, the realistic legal stuff about it is important to talk about. That's all I'm saying.
Or the lack of realistic legal stuff about it. Here's the deal.
Either way.
Were this a real trial? Were this a real deliberation? A mistrial would have been called.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you think so?
Here's what you can't do if you're on a jury. I'm pretty sure you can't do this. If there's a piece of evidence that you're all looking at and you decide you want to bring in yours from home, like, you're not supposed to do that. I'm pretty sure. It's not the jury's job to do like their own investigation. But that's not what this movie is. This movie is an allegory about the state of a community. Like, what makes a lynch mob, like what forms public opinion, what sways public opinion. That's what it's about. It's in the context of a jury deliberating a case, but that's not what it's about.
Right. No, when I was saying before, like, what I really just mean is that this is one of the most straightforward depictions of, and making the general public understand what reasonable doubt means. Do I think that he's innocent? Like, maybe not, but is there some doubt in my mind, and therefore we can't say he's guilty? Like, so I don't know. That's it's the thing that when I was younger watching this movie made me understand reasonable doubt.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I kind of see it as that, even though it's probably not that for many other people. It's just like,
No, I mean, that's in there. I mean, that is one of the things that I think the movie does have something to say.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about the 1954 version. It was written by Reginald Rose, who had written a lot of TV at that point, like prestige stuff. Like this went on to win like a number of Emmys. This was a big famous production that a lot of people saw and went, "Oh, this is something. This is. Did you all see that? This is something. It's really good." You didn't see it? Oh, well, it's a shame. You're never going to get to be able to watch it again,
right?
Because it's 1954.
Because that's how television worked.
So Reginald Rose, within like I don't know how much of the story is apocryphal, and there's not much that people can really corroborate about it. But he served on a jury, and he came out of it like many writers do, coming out of any experience that's new to them, going, "Ooh, this is a script. This is important. This is something people need to hear." And he's basically like, I want to tell a story about what that process was like. And I don't know how much he decided, you know what, I'm going to play kind of fast and loose with the judicial system and kind of focus more on this allegorical aspect that I've kind of come up with, or how much he was just saying, no, I'm going to show it exactly the way it is. I don't know where he was on that spectrum. But sure. I think it's clear to see that like this was directly informed by his own personal experience of serving on a jury. And he also had a lot of things to say about the state of the country during McCarthyism. Yeah. Like that's pretty clear.
Yes.
Also, big thumbs up. I just want to say like just giant thumbs up for me, because it's that's a good thing to make art about big people with lots of power being really shitty and abusing their power. Please, we need to make art about those people.
I'm a big fan
about
of
how dumb they are.
I'm a large agreeer with most of the messages in this movie. Let me be clear about that.
Yep.
I was wondering where to put this into the episode. I'm just going to say it now. I've never been called for jury duty.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And here's the thing. I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
I want to be called for jury duty so bad.
Yeah.
I want to fulfill my civic duty. I like it. Like, sure, it'll end up being that either I won't get called for the actual jury, or it'll even if I do, it'll just be some like stupid, boring thing that doesn't matter. I don't care about it being an exciting case or anything like that. I feel like I'm a prime candidate, and I have never been called for jury duty. You have?
Yeah.
How many times?
Finish saying what you're saying, and then I'll tell my story.
No, this is part of what I'm saying, because I'm only curious because I have a coworker who I was talking to about this the other day, who said, like, you want to be called for jury duty, move to Massachusetts.
Yes.
And
yeah. So okay.
And
so
I've
been called twice, and I've served once. I got called once when I was in college in Boston, and then they sent me another postcard that was like, actually, we don't need you. I'm like, okay, cool. So I never had to go. And then I didn't live in Massachusetts for a bit, and then I moved back, and I went like a while. I went like almost 15 years without being called. And then in the last couple of years, I was called for jury duty, and I went and I served. I was the foreman. It was pretty cool.
Did you ever tell me about this? How about that? Like, I don't think I knew this.
I thought I told you about it.
Maybe you did.
I mean, I'm probably going to bring it up throughout this episode, because there's a lot of the experience that
relevant.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience that I remember from when I was in it. Like the very specific thing of like, I'll jump ahead for a second. Throughout the story, the jurors are going back over all of the evidence. And this one juror number 8, we also don't know any of their names, so we're just going to call them by numbers or nicknames. So juror number 8, or let's call him the advocate, he is the one at the beginning of the story who, as they're going around, the foreman is saying, hey, let's just take a vote. Let's see where we're all at. And it's 11 guilty votes and 1 not guilty vote. And that's juror number 8. He's, just in case anyone's wondering, he's a real Henry Fonda type. Specifically Henry Fonda in 1957. He's the advocate. He's the one who's saying, like, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? Let us go home. The kid obviously did it. And he's like, I don't know if he did it. They're like, you think he's innocent? And he's like, I don't know. I just think we should talk. This kid's life is on the line. Shouldn't we talk? Shouldn't we spend some time talking about all this? And he pisses everybody off. But here's the deal. This is not a spoiler. It's a bit of a spoiler, I guess. Over the course of the story, he brings everyone over to his side. and he sways public opinion. And that's what the story is about. It's about him going through everybody. He's not even doing it methodically. He's not saying, I'm going to go after this person, then this person, and this person. He's just kind of pleading with everybody, let's talk and let's think about this stuff and let's talk about it. And just by doing that, he brings people over to his side. And by the end, everyone is delivering a verdict of not guilty. So one of the things that happens is throughout the story is that he constantly is like, I want to see this piece of evidence. Let's talk about this thing. Wait a second. One of the witnesses was the old man who lived underneath the kid, and because the kid killed his father, supposedly, stabbed him. So one of the witnesses is this old man who lives underneath them in New York City. And one of the things they talk about is the fact that the apartment is right next to an elevated train. This whole conversation happens where the juror number 8 is like, have any of you ever lived next to an L? And this one guy's like, well, I've never this is the New Yorker. He's like, I've never lived next to an L, but I was painting an apartment next to the L, and that thing was come by a lot. And he's like, when that came by, you couldn't hear yourself think, could you? He's like, no, it was terrible. So it was this constant thing of like, let's all talk about our experiences and let's all like talk about our own personal lived experiences, which is redundant, but that happened when I was on a jury. And I was the one bringing it up because the jury that I served on, it was a civil case. There was a traffic collision, and the case had to do with the traffic collision. And the two people who were there, one was the collider and the other one was the collidee.
Yeah.
And where the collision happened was right next to an apartment that I lived in for 4 years at an intersection that I knew intimately. I remember sitting there hearing the stories from both of them about what their experience was. And this one guy was like, I didn't see this other guy come into the intersection, and that's why I hit him. And I remember going into the jury room going like, here's the deal. I know that intersection. You can't not see people. It's an enormous intersection. And so I'm like, I just remember being like, I have particular experience with the scene of the crime.
Jeremy, did you disclose this when they were like doing jury selection?
I told them where I live.
I feel like if they'd known that, they would have weeded you out.
No. Like the whole thing was like the whole jury selection process was crazy and boring. Like, let me be clear, super boring. Oh my God. But also not, because there was constantly this thing of like, am I gonna be on the jury? Because obviously I'm like you. I wanted to be on the jury. I didn't want to go home. Yeah. I had already put in all the time to be there. If I'm going to be there, like, I want to actually do the thing. Not only did I do the thing, they put me in chair number 1, and they were like, you're the foreman. I was like, cool, this is great. And like, I was born for it. It was amazing. I got to actually stand up. I got to be the one to say, we, the jury, like, deliver a verdict of like, it was multiple counts, and we were like multiple points, and we were like, for this one, we think that yes, we think that the collider is culpable. For this one, we don't think they are. For this one, we think they are. It was very boring and complicated.
Gotcha. Wow,
but
still
cool. I was the foreman on a jury here in Massachusetts. It was really fun. But, so that part of the story of people being like, wait, I lived in an apartment like that. Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you something about it.
That rang true to you.
Oh, it sure did. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
No, totally.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So Reginald Rhodes writes this, and then it's produced for Westinghouse Studio One. It was directed by Franklin Schaffner, who would go on to do a number of movies. He did Patton. He did Planet of the Apes, which we talked about on this show. He did The Boys from Brazil. And it had a star-studded cast for this type of thing. Like,
gotcha.
There aren't many people in it who I would say are like big movie stars. Like, I think probably the most recognizable, first of all, I think almost no one would be recognizable to audiences, like to younger audiences today.
Yeah.
But probably the one of them who I would guess would have been the most recognizable over the next few decades was Norman Fell, who played the foreman. Because of course, Three's Company.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a ton of character actors and a ton of people who did lots of these types of shows. My understanding is that the people who would tune into this would look around that table and go, oh, I know a lot of these guys. This is going to be good. In the TV version, Robert Cummings plays juror number 8. And Robert Cummings had a good year. Not only did he win an Emmy for this, he also was in Dial M for Murder.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he had a good year, you know?
Yeah. This is a significant part of History.
So he's the one who, like, it's weird that I've only ever seen this story really with Henry Fonda. And it was weird seeing somebody else do it on screen. And because we haven't really talked about what we think of it, can I go ahead and tell you something? I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I took almost no notes. And there's a reason for that.
You were wrapped.
This is so compelling.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. It's incredible. I didn't know what to, because obviously I've never seen this TV one.
Yeah.
I have seen the 57, but it was a long time ago. I think it might have even been high school the last time I saw it. I think that I think it was like the little, like, you know, one semester film section that we took in high school, that we would take in high school, was the last time I saw it.
I took that class as a freshman. I was like, I pushed hard for it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Let me in.
I remember you telling me that you did that. I was like, how did you do that? I can't do that.
I was like, I went and talked to the teacher about it. And they were like, don't you understand? This is a blow-off class for seniors. What are you doing?
And you're like, not in my case. Even though what they should have made the argument is that, like, you get it, you take it your freshman year. What are you going to do the rest of your 3 years? You know, you're not going. There's no other film stuff to do.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, I'm going to rate the movie reviews for the school paper.
And that he did.
That I did.
I think that's the last time I saw it. But I'd never seen this TV one. If it was a adaptation of the 57 one, then you kind of imagine, like, well, I bet it's not as good.
Yeah.
But this one was first. But also it was like less of a produced thing. So, like, are the visuals going to really, like, and sure, like, it looks rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's weak in all of the ways that these kinds of productions are weak.
Yes, but
it
also ended up looking better than I imagined it was going to.
Well, it has something going for it, which is that the entire story takes place in one room.
Yes. Ultimately, I kind of come out with this confusing feeling of, like, I kind of like it. I can't say I like it just as much as the 57 one, because the 57 one, like, just looks so much better. But
yeah,
it's, in terms of, like, if I was closing my eyes, I like it, like, kind of better than the 57 one.
Me too.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Each one of these adaptations makes it longer.
Yes.
With the 57 one, that's not too bad. I think it's like, it goes into bad territory with the 97 one, but in terms of the length. But I'm not sure that that's a reason why I like this one, you know, slightly more or the same, because it's like the stuff that the 57 one adds, I think, is fantastic.
Oh,
it's tough. It's a tough call for me.
I disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, for me, I think all the stuff that the 57 one adds, I'm not gonna say every single thing, but I think a lot of it is not important.
Well, like, everything that the 57 one adds is basically more stuff of why the individual jurors have, like more character stuff about why they're so hard on their opinion, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and I like that. I just, like, I mean, sure, maybe it's a little, like, you could say it's superfluous, and I wouldn't really be able to, like, argue with that. But I don't know.
Well,
it's like,
I think it's superfluous.
Well, I can't argue with that, but I still like it.
No, I don't think it's superfluous. Here's the deal: we're getting dangerously close to just making this about the 57 version. So I'm going to stop.
Well, yeah,
there.
that's what I'm trying to avoid. So yes, pull me back.
But if we're sticking on the 54 version, I came out of this whole experience truly feeling that this is the perfect length for this script.
Mm-hmm.
I think this does everything it needs to do. Like, one of the things that I think makes the story work, and don't worry, everybody, we're going to talk about some of the things that threaten to make the story not work. But one of the things that makes the story work is that I think the 54 version in an hour strikes such a good balance between reducing the characters to stereotypes and also having a compelling plot, because the plot itself is really compelling. Like, the plot of actually watching them go through all of the pieces of evidence and slowly watching people come over to juror number 8's side. Like, it's a super, super compelling thing. It's compelling in 54. It's compelling in 57. I think it's compelling in 97.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, it just is compelling.
Because it's the same plot. So,
right.
Like, it's always compelling.
But, you know, that's the plot.
Yeah.
The thing that I really love about 54 is, again, the characters. Like, Reginald Rose wrote this script it seems to me, very intentionally to reduce these characters to stereotypes, not in a bad way, but in a way that would serve the story that he was telling about how public opinion is formed, because they're not characters to be characters. They're not there so we can get really invested in their story. We're there because we want to see the entire story, and they're each serving a purpose. They each have a role to play in it. There's the foreman who is just doing his best to keep everything together, and he's got a hard job to do because he's got this one guy who's a real troublemaker who is constantly making them talk about stuff. There's the shy one who we know someone like this, the one who's like quiet and he just needs to people to listen to him sometimes, and he'll be able to say what he really feels.
Yeah,
there's the
he's a real piglet type.
Yeah, real piglet type.
That's also 57. Sorry, everybody. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's 57. Just to be clear, in 57 he's played by John Fiedler, who was the voice of Piglet, and it's delightful. There's the Public Avenger, and the Public Avenger, he's like the antagonist, the primary antagonist. There's like a primary antagonist.
He ends up being the last holdout.
Yeah, there's like the primary antagonist, and then there's the two, like, I would say, secondary antagonists. So the Public Avenger, he's the one who's like the last holdout. He goes down swinging because I didn't mention this before. This kid, brown kid, and that's a problem.
Yeah. And I kind of like that. I mean, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, I don't believe in the 54 one or the 57 one, there's no specific, like we know that he's like a brown kid. There's nothing specific about his ethnicity.
No.
Or we just know that he's minority.
Yes.
I find that particularly interesting about the first two.
Yeah. Which is another thing about the movie that, like, I just want to say briefly, like, one of the biggest problems with the story throughout the years is I feel like if you try to read it realistically, it's inevitably gonna fall apart, because it's a very unrealistic jury, because it's just 12 white men.
Right. Even for the time, that was like somewhat like that. Do you feel like is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like even at the time that was unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it was completely unrealistic. I'm sure there were lots of juries in the 50s that were just men. That would not surprise me.
Sure.
But like in 1997, it gets a little crazy. It gets a little weird. But it's not just men, it's white men. And that one of the things that I like about it, again, it's a thing I like about the 54 version, and I like about it being shorter, is that the shorter it is, the less self-important it feels. And I like it when it's a short story about how one person, Reginald Rose, perceives public opinion changing in the context of a jury room. But I feel like when you make it longer, and when you expand the characters and focus on their backstories, it just makes it more and more questionable that it's just 12 dudes. And I'm not saying the shorter version wouldn't also be better if there was not just 12 dudes.
Yeah.
But that's, if we're trying to analyze the movie from a realistic perspective, like I just think it falls apart.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay, because that's not the point.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
Now, something that we will probably talk about later is, if you are adapting it, you probably should consider the context of your day and maybe make some changes based on that. Hey everybody, it's Jeremy here, obviously. Just doing a little drop-in right here. So I'm embarrassed. Turns out I am a sweet summer child, a sweet little naive summer child. So I did research for this episode. It's not like I didn't do any. But it turns out the research that I did was incomplete and kind of sent me down a path that was not totally accurate. Turns out, obviously, like in retrospect, I feel very silly for not having been more suspicious of the research that I did find. But yeah, having a jury of just 12 white men in the 50s was like ridiculously common. Like, not only plausible, but incredibly common. So yeah, if you were thinking, I don't know, that sounds like it would probably be pretty common, just know, yeah, it was. I'm going to let you continue listening to the episode, but I just want you to know that I did learn that after we recorded. It would have been better before, but I did learn it. Anyway, back to the show. I'll just be sitting here with my embarrassment. Anyway, there's the stiff, The stiff is like a stockbroker. Real, there's a famous line in it where, because it's real hot, it's the hottest day of the year. Everyone's cramped into this jury room, and someone says to him, like, "Don't you even sweat?" And he goes, "No." Like, it's a good moment. But he's like super, super focused on the facts. And he is like one of the very last people to go over to not guilty.
Yeah,
because,
it's like you were saying, he's one of the two sub antagonists who is like, there's like the two sub antagonists, and one of them is him. He's logical antagonist, and the other one is racist antagonist.
Exactly. Yeah. But I mean, they're all racist.
Yeah.
Then there's the kid, and the kid, he's an important role because he doesn't really say a lot at the beginning, but he grew up in an area like the kid that's on trial.
Yeah.
And so there are people around the table who are making comments about those kinds of neighborhoods. And he finally has had enough. And he's like, look, I live in one of those neighborhoods. Come at me. What are you? And he ends up having a lot to say. And I think it's a good thing for a story to have something to say about, listening to people's experiences and not just assuming that you know the answers to things.
Yeah.
Then there's the New Yorker. He's the one I talked about before. The one who's like, yeah, I'm a painter, like real blue collar, real blue collar.
Yeah.
I like him. Then there's the baseball fan. Now the baseball fan, he's got tickets to a ball game, and that's his major character trait.
It's easy to confuse him with the New Yorker.
Yes,
but
they're all New Yorkers. That's the thing. But like he's a particular type. But anyway, he's just a general piece of shit and wants to get to his ball game.
Yeah.
Until enough people yell at him to shut up about his ball game, and then he shuts up about his ball game. But it gets rained out anyway. Then there's the advocate, who we've talked about, real Henry Fonda type. Then there's the old man. The old man sits next to the advocate, and he is one of the most fun characters in the whole story. He is played by the same. There's a couple of repeat actors also between 54 and 57. He's one of them. Joseph Sweeney plays the old man in this one, and then he plays the same character in 57. And his whole thing is there's this really fun bit of plot that Rose writes into it, where after juror number 8 has kind of told everybody, look, I'm like, he's just gone through his first kind of phase of trying to convince everyone. He can tell that it's not really getting anywhere, so he needs to do something a little dramatic. So he says, look, here's what I'll do. This is the deal I'll make with you. I want another vote. This time it has to be by secret ballot. If every ballot comes in and they all say guilty, I won't hold us up. I'll change my vote to guilty. We'll go in there and deliver a guilty verdict. But if even one person says not guilty, if even one person has changed their vote based on the conversation we've had, then we keep talking. And one vote does come in for not guilty. It's an incredibly good scene.
Yep. Especially because it's like, this was a huge gamble on the advocate's part.
Yes.
Like, they had not been talking very long. He'd made some good points, but the whole room was still very egregiously against him.
Yeah.
And this could have gone very bad for him very quickly. Like, it's kind of a, but I like how that does seem like a little unrealistic at first, but then when the old man is explaining why he changed his vote, then it like works, because the old man is basically saying, like, I did this because he gambled for support, and I gave it to him because I like his, I like the cut of his jib, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's great.
The old man's great. He's great in every version except when he's the huge sexist. But anyway, we'll get to that too. Then there's the bigot. Now the bigot. Now, again, they're all bigots, but the bigot they're all like a bigot / something. It's like one guy is a bigot / baseball fan, and another guy is a bigot / banker. This guy is a bigot / bigot, and it's the only thing about his personality. And he is just mad and yelling, and eventually everyone tells him to shut up as well, which is really, really nice. But he's just kind of one note, but like, it's a very important note in the context of the story. Yeah. Then there's the immigrant, who's another repeat performer. George Voskovec plays him in this one and the 1957 version, and he represents someone coming into this country and who has a lot to say about like what he loves about like our judicial system and loves about our democracy, and he's got a lot of great things to say, and he's really fun, and he's a great character. He's just a really, really, really fun character.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. There's this kind of like European, kind of generic European immigrant.
Yeah.
Then there's the ad man, who is, I'm going to go ahead and say, the most minor character in the entire thing. And the fact that he's juror number 12, like, I feel like Reginald Rose just kind of phoned in this one, but he's just kind of like, a douchey yuppie who doesn't really care and is annoying.
But I don't know if I agree that it's fun, because I think that's an important demographic, like,
it is. No, you're right. Can I tell you, as I was saying it, I kind of realized that maybe I spoke too soon.
But you kind of realize that maybe this is America, and
yes,
that's an important group of people.
Maybe we're all juror number 12.
Oh
God! Like we all want to think we're juror number 8, but none of us are juror number 8. We have we're
number 12 at best.
Yes. We strive for 8. We land on 12. We hope.
Yeah.
So, but those are the people around the table, and they're all, every single thing they have to say throughout the story is all based on their own experiences, their own life. And the thing that juror number 8 is fighting against the entire time is that so many of them aren't looking past their own experiences to think about this case and think about it logically and think about the facts and maybe not just assume that the kid did it. I mentioned before the thing about bringing in evidence. There's this whole thing where the kid bought a knife that evening, and then that knife was found in his father. And he was like, the kid says he lost the knife. And they're like, you believe that? It's like, I don't know. And basically the entire case hinges on how it's a completely unique knife that no one has ever seen before, and it's impossible that there could be more than one of them. And then suddenly juror number 8 takes out the same knife from his pocket and in dramatic fashion sticks it into the table, and the bailiff comes in and goes, "That table, what are you doing?"
Yeah, I kept thinking about that in every single adaptation. I was just like, you can't just stick knives into government-owned tables.
I've never done this before. I've never seen anyone do this before. But
somebody's going to get in trouble. Yeah.
Again, looking at this story through a lens of realism, I think is a mistake.
Yeah, totally.
And so everyone's like, what are you doing? Where'd you get that from? And he's like, I went into the neighborhood where the kid bought the knife, and I saw this in a ton of places. You can get this in so many places. And they're like, that doesn't prove anything, but it helps him kind of build his case and, bring people over to his side. I do want to talk about some of the weak points of this story, other than the fact that they are just 12 dudes. May I?
Sure, please.
It is frustrating that in a story about dudes that they don't have the decency. Clearly they were committed to just telling a story about dudes. They could have at least had the decency to just leave women out of it. But they didn't do that.
They refer to a woman. Yeah.
Yes, they do. So one of the witnesses, the woman who lives across the street who saw the murder through the train, there is an entire piece of plot. It's one of the things, it's one of the conversations that wins more people over to the not guilty verdict, is the fact that she says she saw the guy. And I think they change it from 54 to 57 because in 54, the old man says she was wearing glasses. Now, you're telling me she saw this guy? She says she was in bed and couldn't get to sleep. Do you wear glasses to bed? He says to the stiff, and the stiff says, no, I never do that. Huh.
No one does that.
No one does that. Maybe he's not guilty. It's a good moment. It's a really good moment. But it is just a fucking bummer to hear this man talk about this lady. And we hear a lot about her. We hear that she is 45, but dressing like she's 35. Like she's trying to convince everyone that she's 35, wearing clothes that are, we're told, very inappropriate for the courtroom. There's a lot of objectification and sexism in this one 3-minute section of the story that is unfortunate, and I don't like it, and it's gross and unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary.
Sure. But also, am I right, fellas?
I'm not with him. I'm not with him.
No. Sorry, I'm boring. I have to do that joke every time. But And like, I mean, specifically there, like the old man, I believe specifically, and maybe this is just, I don't remember if this is in both or just a 57, but has that like, haven't you ever known a woman who didn't wear her glasses because she thought it hurt her looks? Like,
oh, that's in the 57 one, because in the 57 one, the thing they change it to is not that because they have to extend it, they make the whole thing longer.
In the first one, she didn't try to hide that she wore glasses, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the 57 one, I actually, from a plot perspective, I actually really like it. So let's move on.
Yeah.
Because now we really do need to just talk about the 57 one. But just let me finish up. Like, let's just look back really quickly. The production values, super low. You can only see it as like a kinescope, just like a filmed version of the live TV version. It was done in an hour, completely live. It is not a film. It is a live performance on TV in 1954, but holy shit, it is
which does
so
add
good.
Quite a layer of impressiveness to it when you think about it, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good. They were doing good.
It's so good.
It's a good performance. Yeah.
Then in 1957, there's the movie. Now, this was directed by Sidney Lumet. It's his first movie. He'd done a lot of TV at that point, but I think this is the first time he ever did a movie. And this was something that Henry Fonda really wanted to do after seeing the 54 version. Again, written by Reginald Rose. Reginald Rose wrote every version of it. It's his story. It's his story to tell. No one else has ever written it. And this is the classic movie. This is the one with Henry Fonda, Martin Balsam, Lee J. Cobb, E.G. Marshall, Jack Klugman, Jack Warden, George Voskovec, Ed Begley, Sr. We can all agree the lesser of the Ed Begleys, but he's still great. So it makes some changes. It is longer. It expands on things a little bit. Here's a thing that the movie does that the TV version did not do. We see the kid's face at the beginning.
Yep.
And I don't know if you had this experience also, but going straight from the 54 version to this one, like, it is a gut punch to see that kid's face, because we just watched a whole story where they're talking about him without ever seeing him, just because they didn't have that. It didn't fit in what they were trying to tell. But in this one, like, seeing him, that's a good choice.
Yeah.
Another thing I really liked about the beginning in this one, in the original TV version, the judge is very grave at the beginning when he's giving his speech about their responsibility. In this one, we actually see the judge. He's not just a voiceover, and he's like over it. And it's just like, he's like, I do so many of these things.
Which is, you know, that's a good addition, I think.
It's a good. No, it's a really good addition. I think all the additions in the first 15 minutes of this movie are the best ones. And like, sitting down and watching this time, because I hadn't seen it in a number of years, sitting down and watching it this time, in those first 15 minutes, I was like, okay, yeah, in every way, this is an improvement on the original, in every way. Then I got to the end and didn't feel that way. But that first 15 minutes are incredibly strong. Like, one of the things we were saying before is about how in the extra half hour of screen time, they expand all the characters and they give everybody more backstory. And one of the very first things we see that's added is juror number 3, the public avenger. He gives a little speech about how toxic masculinity ruined his relationship with his son. Now, he doesn't say it that way because he has no concept of this. He doesn't understand that that's what ruined his relationship with his son. He's just telling a story about how his son doesn't talk to him anymore.
Yeah, he's just telling a story about rotten kids and how they'll always let you down.
Yeah, but it is very clearly about toxic masculinity, you know, a term that no one said at that time. A lot of people still don't like it. I don't understand why. Probably toxic masculinity. Like, in that moment when he's giving that speech, I just took a step back and was like, I really appreciate that this, and I'm saying this in all caps, this movie about men, that this movie about men has a clear and negative opinion about toxic masculinity. Like, that's something that's like, if this movie is not necessarily for everyone and is just really like focused on this group of people, and people like this group of people, at least that's a good thing to say to those people. It's something those people need to hear. It's something we all need. It's something we need to hear.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, like, you know, pretty much anything in movies from, you know, this time, you can be like, at least this.
Yes. Yes.
And I mean, I feel like this is probably better than most. So, you know, yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So that whole first 15 minutes really struck me. And then as the movie goes on, like, it was shot quickly. It didn't take them long. They did some rehearsals for it, and then they shot it in a pretty brief period of time because they didn't need a ton of time to shoot it. It is, again, basically one location.
Yeah.
But I'll try to do the really quick version of the decades and decades of wonderful things that people have said about Sidney Lumet's direction of this movie
Is
good. It looks good. It looks no. So like one of the aspects of it that I've seen people write about a lot that I really appreciate is just that he was super intentional about the way he shot it. Did you notice how the movie kind of goes from wide angle to close-ups throughout the whole thing? And going from wide lenses to like telephoto lenses.
I mean, I'm bad at noticing, at like knowing exactly what those things are, but I noticed that it changed. Yeah.
Let me put it this way. It's like in the beginning of the movie, the space feels kind of big, but by the end of the movie, the space feels really small and everybody feels really, really close together and it feels claustrophobic. That's lens choice. That's just like going from wide angle lenses to telephoto lenses over the course of the movie. And that's a choice that really, really works for this. A thing that works in this that does not work in the TV version because it would not have fit in with the production of it. It is the hottest day of the year, we're told, and then it starts to rain and it gets dark.
Yeah.
None of this stuff happens in the TV version. They kind of talk about it a little bit, but it doesn't look any different at the end than it looks at the beginning.
Right.
But in this one, taking a step back from the story, taking a step back from the themes, taking a step back from the performances, just kind of watching a visual change over the course of the movie for one location is amazing.
Yeah. No, it looks like that aspect of it looks incredible.
Can you name a movie to me right now? Name a movie where people look sweatier. You can't.
I bet if I thought about it, I could. But yeah, I get your point.
I don't want to be in that room. That room is terrible. What a movie, huh?
Yeah.
Like, I almost feel like we're going to end up talking about this one the least because it's the one that people have talked about the most.
Right. I feel like we're going to talk about it more when we're comparing stuff in the 97 to it.
Yeah.
But like, there's just so many incredible scenes. I mean, the whole thing is one scene, really. But
right.
But there's just so many incredible sequences, like when they all get up and turn their backs to the bigot when he's like going on his like biggest racist rant.
Yeah,
that's a cool sequence. It's all one big cool sequence. But
yeah, oh my god, like when Henry Fonda takes the knife out and sticks it in the table, like. Yeah. And then the bailiff comes in and goes, "What are you doing?" Like it's just shot beautifully. Like it's an amazingly, it's an incredibly palpable, effective moment. Can I tell you who one of my favorite performances was in it? Because like, of course, Henry Fonda's Henry Fonda. He's great. Like it's not surprising that he's great because he's Henry Fonda. He's just such a natural, amazing performer. Martin Balsam,
the foreman. Yeah. He's incredible. What a face that guy has.
He's one of my favorite additions in the movie, but also he represents one of the things that I kind of like the least about the movie.
Okay.
On the one hand, his performance is amazing and subtle. That one little moment where it's two moments actually that I'm thinking of that like I think maybe are my two favorite moments from the movie, and they're both him. One of them is where he's going to go around and do a vote again. And he like looks to his left and goes like, "Juror number 1," and he's like, "Oh, that's me." And he like, because they're voting, and he's like, "Guilty." And then they go on, and just like his little moment there was like, "Oh, geez, like I was just doing my best here, everybody," you know. So there's that moment, and then there's another one later where they're taking another vote, and this is at the point where like 8 of them are already on the advocate's side, and they get to him last, and he does the little reveal where he's like 8. And he thinks about it for a second and he goes 9 and raises his own hand. Like those are like, they're both it's my two favorite moments in the whole movie, and they're both Martin Balsam. And
well, it's funny that you like, because he makes me think a lot of how like the different characters of all the different jury members are so cool in that they each have like, there's ones that are gonna be swayed over to the other side earlier and ones that'll be later. The cool thing about juror number 1, especially in this performance, how I think of that character is that this guy would have crossed over to not guilty a lot sooner than he does if he wasn't distracted by being the foreman.
Yes.
Like it's the kind of thing where like this guy is good and like he like is like he would have seen the light like a lot sooner than he does, but he's so distracted of having to like do all the stuff that he's just, for the first 3 rounds, he's just like, yeah, guilty still. Like, you know what I mean? that's like a character quirk that just I think is particularly good.
So good. I'm just running around the table because like Martin Balsam's great. Like kind of across the board, the performances are like these are movie star performances in the way like this is they're head and shoulders above what the actors were kind of given the opportunity to do in the TV version. So even like George Voskovec and Joseph Sweeney, who were both in the TV version, they're both doing better stuff in this one because they're given more time to do better stuff. But John Fiedler, he's, as you said, the voice of Piglet. He's great. Lee J. Cobb is amazing as the Public Avenger. He's like beyond incredible.
That guy.
E.G. Marshall as the Stiff. Jack Klugman. Also seeing like really young Jack Klugman as the kid. Like also he was like in his 30s when he's playing this like young character.
Yeah. He's just like the youngest of all of them.
Edward Binns is the New Yorker. He's just good, solid. Jack Warden we already talked about. Henry Fonda is really great. Joseph Sweeney is fantastic. Ed Begley you mentioned before the scene where everybody kind of turns their back on him when he's going off on his tirade. It's an incredible performance. He's so good. And you hate him so much, but he's so pathetic. That's the thing too, is like he has no good points to make. Yeah. No one who is against this kid, no one's bigotry in this movie is presented as having any validity. Ever. It's not the kind of thing where it's like, well, he did make a good point about that one. Like, no good points are made by the bigoted side of things. The bigoted side is just the bigoted side.
It's interesting because it's like, obviously all of them to some degree are having racist thoughts. But this guy, the bigot, obviously, the main focus point of that. And later on, they all turn explicitly against his bigotry. Yeah. In the first, he has like a smaller, racist tirade earlier in the story, like closer to the beginning of the deliberation.
He has a lot of like mini tirades.
Yeah. And
he speaks exclusively in tirades.
And at that point, it's nice because like at that point, the old man who is seated next to him calls him out right from the beginning. Yeah. But everyone else at that point is just like, they don't agree with him necessarily about, or, maybe some of them do, about his points about how all of them are bad people, for instance. Yes. But they're still just like, okay, let's
I just imagine if any one of them stood up to make a little speech, they would all basically say the same thing, which is like, now this guy obviously, all right, he's going a little overboard, but we can all agree that this kid is guilty.
Right. Right. And they're all like, I'm not going to say it's because of his ethnicity, but like maybe some of because some of them are like definitely still kind of halfway there. But in the scene where they all turn their backs on him, you kind of feel like a couple of them are doing it just out of peer pressure. But
yes,
so it's not a wholly wonderful act.
Yes.
Like
then there's George Voskovec, who's really, really good. And then there's Robert Webber, the ad man, who at least in this one, like I found the actor to be more compelling as the ad man. Mm-hmm. It's weird to say this, but like I found him more compelling because he's more of a vapid shithead.
Yeah, I agree. And I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, like it does make it more, we'll talk about it in the 97 one, but like there's the aspect of this where certain actors carry baggage with them for viewers, and some of them don't, but you're right. Like this one, especially since like I wasn't, that familiar with him or whatever, but like he was more of a vapid shithead, and I think it worked for the character in terms of what we were saying earlier.
Just kind of dialing that up a little bit. Not everything was dialed up, but that was dialed up. Here's the thing. I was saying half of this before. So like Martin Balsam, I could go on about how great he is, and he's one of my favorite parts of the movie, but also he represents one of my least favorite parts about the movie, because I go back to the fact that I think this story is better at an hour than it is in an hour and a half. Because all of the stuff that we hear about all the characters, they basically it feels like a play. It feels like, oh, they're all gonna walk off to the side. Two characters are gonna walk off to the side of the room, and they're gonna kind of in very vague terms talk about their life and talk about what their job is and tell a weird kind of ambiguous story about a thing that happened to them once that You think at the beginning it doesn't really have much to do with what the case is at this moment, but then by the end of it you realize, oh, maybe maybe telling this story is helping them realize that maybe this kid isn't guilty. Like this is the stuff that feels totally unnecessary to me. And Martin Balsam is given one of the worst ones where he's like, I teach, what is he coaches football?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't need to hear this character's story. These are stereotypes, and that's the point. There's 12 stereotypes. You don't need to make them feel more like real characters because they're not real characters. Again, reality is not the lens that we should be looking at this movie through.
Just while you were describing that, it occurred to me for the first time, a funny thing is like what makes the 57 and the 97 versions, what really opened them up, like a mistake that I think was made that contributed heavily to them being able to be longer when they didn't really need to be, is that the bathroom was a set.
Yes. Oh my God, I didn't think about that.
In the TV one, there's no, you don't see inside the bathroom. And so it's just
people just disappear into it.
There's nowhere where anyone can go and have like a private discussion, So that cut a bunch of time out.
I can't believe I never noticed that.
Yeah. So making the bathroom a set was, ultimately, I think I understand why they did it, and I understand why they thought it was good. But like in terms of what we're saying, and that they didn't really need to be longer than an hour. I think that making the bathroom a set was, ultimately detrimental.
Yeah. Even though good scenes happen in the bath, what's like, I am misquoting. I don't want to misattribute this to somebody else, so I don't remember who said it, and I'm sure I'm messing it up. But what's the thing about like a great movie is a movie with like 3 great scenes and no bad scenes? I can't remember who said it.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
But it doesn't matter.
But yes, it's a famous quote.
Yeah. And like this movie is a perfect example of that. Like this movie doesn't have a single bad scene in it. It's all good scenes except for the scenes that are great, which is a lot. Like that makes a great, compelling movie that lives on for decades. That also, by the way, wasn't a hit when it first came out. It didn't do well, and then it found an audience later. And then it, got into like the, top 100 movies of all time and all that kind of stuff. And
Howard Hawks. It was Howard Hawks.
Was it Howard Hawks that said something kind of like that? Yeah,
the exact quote is, a good movie is 3 good scenes and no bad ones.
Yeah. Like is it reductive? Yes. Is it accurate?
Yeah. Is it
probably?
Sure.
Yeah. I'll say it. If we're only talking about the script, I like the 54 version more.
Yeah.
I don't think it needs the added material as a piece of media. Like if we're judging, like I think they're both successful, but like if we're judging the success of them, like I think the movie is really successful because it has so the highs are so high.
Yeah. And let me say this, because you've been swaying me over the course of this, and now I definitely agree that script wise, like especially if we're just talking about the script, the hour long one is the best. And
you're saying I've brought you over to after viewing the evidence, I've kind of brought you over to my side.
Not guilty. Here's something that just occurred to me about why. What I'm about to say is going to sound dismissive. It's a dismissive thing to say, and like
the only reason it sounds dismissive is because it is
dismissive. The biggest things that the added material for 57 is, and you could say the same thing about the even more added material in the 97.
Mm-hmm.
The vast majority of the added material is stuff like the big thing at the end of the Public Avenger, and talking about like with his wallet and his son, and realizing that like he just can't let go of this because he's got his terrible relationship with his son, and they really hammer down on that again. And that's like they add a bunch of stuff like that. Like I said, with adding, see, this is like, earlier I thought that adding this stuff for character stuff was good, and now here's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
this is a dismissive thing I'm about to say, is that stuff is, when you think about, kind of like actor bullshit.
Yes.
It's just actors wanting to have more like meaty actor stuff,
right?
So man, I really come around on this one.
Yeah. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Like it's better, and it just the thing that's a bummer is that the only way to watch it is this version from 54, which is like, it doesn't look great. It's distracting. Like it's distracting. It's not the enjoyable kind of home video experience that the 57 one is.
Yeah.
But
man,
it's so good. And like, honestly, Henry Fonda's amazing.
Yeah.
But so was Robert Cummings. Like,
yeah,
the thing that Robert Cummings did is he didn't constantly remind me that he's Robert Cummings. Whereas Henry Fonda, I'm constantly reminded that he's Henry Fonda. And that's okay because Henry Fonda's great. So
yeah, Henry Fonda is great. And so is Jack Lemmon, but I was even more constantly reminded that it was Jack Lemmon.
Yes. Yeah. That's a good time to move on. 57, it's a classic. I mean, if you haven't seen it, why are you even listening to this if you haven't seen that one?
Yeah, that's the one you should see.
Well, it's such
kind
a
of
classic.
not what we're saying now, but
yeah, but I mean,
it's
like,
harder to see the other one.
Yeah, like before we move on to 97, like it is worth it to say that like this is something that has been referenced and parodied so many times, and there are some like genuine remakes of it, like I said before, but like they're just not available, and it's a bummer. But like one, I think we each watched one or two other things. Like I'd always heard about 12 Angry Men Inside Amy Schumer. So Inside Amy Schumer, it was from the third season of it in 2015. They did an entire episode that was a parody of 12 Angry Men. And it is, I'd heard about it, but I'd never seen it before. And boy, it is like, as parodies go, like it is top tier. It's incredibly good. They get the look of it. Like the whole thing is reduced down to 22 minutes, but it's
very intentionally shot. It's very they got some, like as was wont to do at this period of time with comedians and their little shows that they had. That sounds very rude.
That was super rude. I'm keeping that.
But no, please do. But as was what most of them were able to, they got some heavy hitters.
Yes.
To come and be in this episode. And good job there.
Can I read some names?
Please.
Obviously, Amy Schumer is in it. Dennis Quaid plays the judge. Kumail Nanjiani, Chris Gethard, Nick DiPaolo, Vincent Kartheiser, Paul Giamatti, John Hawkes, Jeff Goldblum. It's like there's some heavy. Yeah, Paul Giamatti plays the bigot. Yeah, and it's chef's kiss performance. It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's absolutely incredible. Like I actually think for some of them, not for all of them, because there are some people around the table who aren't actors and they're more just comedians.
Yeah,
but like Paul Giamatti, he's an actor. Actor. Like he would play this role on stage. Like he would be it. He would be in this. He would be this character in a production of this.
Absolutely,
and
he would.
I don't know that Jeff Goldblum would be like the foreperson. Like I don't know that he would, but he is.
Hawks
in this one.
too. Like obviously, John Hawkes plays the advocate, and he would also be in a stage production of this. So
yes,
they wanted to get those two really big. I think is what they and they succeeded because it's big.
Yeah. And you also watched what was the Family Guy?
There's
episode?
a Family Guy one, and it's like I there's really not much to say about that one. It is a whole episode where it's just a 12 Angry Men parody where Mayor Adam West is like accused of killing his one of his assistants, and it's like it seems very clear that his assistant was going to reveal some scandal that he was involved in, and that he killed the assistant, he killed the aide to not have the scandal be released, and so everyone's convinced that he's guilty, but Brian is the advocate, of course, and he turns them all around, but it's mostly just Family Guy cutaway gags, and there isn't much thematic resonance, I guess, is a made up way that I would say that.
I mean, if the original story exists in two ways, there's the plot of the original, which is a compelling and entertaining plot, and then there's also the themes of it, which are important and impactful. It sounds like the Family Guy one is more well, we're going to do the plot, but the themes don't really we're not going to talk about that.
Whereas the Amy Schumer one is very thematic because it's basically the same thing as the movie, except what they're deciding, which I don't believe you mentioned already.
No,
what they're it's a court case about whether Amy is hot enough to have a TV show.
Yes,
and that is a very Amy Schumer joke to do. And so it does what it's setting out to do.
Oh yeah, yeah. But like it genuinely has a thing. And like I think I was saying this to you before, but like one of the things that I didn't really think about until after is it kind of is amazing to me as a parody in that the basic question that is being put to them all at the table is something that people tie their identities to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of brilliant. Like
Yeah,
it's kind of
like that's why it like really works as a parody. Like,
yeah.
that's how like it works better than I feel like any other parody.
Oh,
like,
and just to be clear, everyone around the table at the beginning says that no, she is not hot enough to have a TV show, and John Hawkes is the one person going like, well, maybe she is.
yeah, and everyone's very mad about it.
Yes, everyone's incredibly mad about it because obviously she's not.
Yeah. But those are really the only two parodies that we checked out. There's so many things that I feel like have the DNA of 12 Angry Men in them. If like, I mean, I say so many things. I'm only thinking about one recent thing, and that is Juror Number 2, which is a film from last year, directed by Clint Eastwood, that I have seen. I don't believe you have.
No, I'm fine.
And while
I've heard it's good.
It's not like anywhere near the same plot. It is just cool that it's like a simple like court juries. I mean, it's a very complicated plot.
I mean, it would have been the same plot if it turned out that one of the jurors in the jury room was the guy who killed the kid's father.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And that's the whole thing of that movie. And it's not a spoiler. It's in the trailer. Is that like a guy gets called, put on a jury, and only once he's already on the jury does he realize that he's the actual one that committed the crime, and the defendant is innocent, but he's the only one who knows that for sure. So then the rest of the movie is just like a moral play.
Yeah.
Like obviously like he's trying to shift people's opinions in the jury. And then also it's very much about people in the jury having a steadfast, unmovable opinion about the innocence or the guilt or innocence of the defendant that felt very 12 Angry Men to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not an adaptation at all, but it's got something in there.
Yeah, like would Juror Number 2 exist if 12 Angry Men hadn't existed?
I mean, at least not in the same form.
Yeah, like obviously we can't know that for sure, but like probably not.
Yeah.
But that brings us to 1997 and our final like direct adaptation of the 1954 version, which of course it isn't. It's an adaptation of the 1957 version. And this was a prestige TV movie in 1997, aired on Showtime. It was directed by William Friedkin.
Yeah, holy crap.
Yeah, like I mean, like he's a curmudgeon's curmudgeon.
Mm-hmm.
And I love listening to him talk about making movies because he is a delight. I'm going to link to a clip of him talking about dealing with method actors and talking about the thing you were talking about before about like actory bullshit, about like needing to know the backstory of your characters and everything. His feelings about that it's one of my favorite things of like a movie maker talking about making movies that I've ever heard. So I'm going to link to that. It was written by Reginald Rose, who clearly like wrote a new version of it. It is rewritten in many ways because, of course, they had to update it because it's 1997, not 1957. It's not done as a period piece. It's modern day. And it starred, I mean, a heck of a cast. I mean, it's the most impressive cast for me because the 90s is when I was watching stuff.
Right.
So I know all of these people.
Gravitas in that room.
Yeah. Like, can I run around the table for a second?
Yeah.
I mean, before we even get around the table, Mary McDonnell plays the judge.
Right.
Yeah. She is the only woman in the movie she's the only woman in any of these that has any lines. It's great. Totally in favor of that.
We're not gonna put any women on the jury in this one, but we'll have the judge be a woman. That'll solve it.
Also, did you catch this bullshit? Did it piss you off too? Okay, so like I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I didn't like this.
Yeah, well, I'm very curious to hear, like, you obviously specifically did not like it. You only gave it 2 stars.
Yes.
And I'm excited to hear all of your reasonings for that, because I mean, I gave it 3 because, well, this is poorer in every aspect than either of the previous 2. I still thought it was like fine. Like there's kind of one big aspect that I thought was very much not fine, but but I still thought it was like competent.
My problem with it is that even though it is competently produced, I find it to be morally questionable. in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is made by people who were not being thoughtful about what they were doing. And that really frustrates me because this is a story that deserves thoughtfulness. And this whole thing feels like we're not going to update anything. We're going to do 12 Angry Men, but you're doing it in 1997. I mean, obviously, like the world has changed a little bit. We are okay. I'll turn the fan into an air conditioner. That's what we'll do. Like they change almost nothing, and I think that's irresponsible. Like I actually think that's a really bad and shitty thing to do. So like I probably will end up agreeing with you about like the good points.
Right.
For me though, the problem is that the bad points for me are so bad that the good points can't possibly overcome them.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff that I thought was bad. There's a lot of just bad decisions that are made in terms of stuff.
But anyway, I was kind of getting ahead of myself, so I wanted to kind of make it clear I don't like this, and I think it's bad actually. But one of the things that really pissed me off, and I don't know if you caught this, in the original 54 version and 57, there's a conversation that is had about the kid's lawyer, who's the public defender.
Mm-hmm.
They very specifically talk. They talk about this guy a lot, and they're always like, he didn't ask this, he didn't ask this, he didn't do this thing. Well, of course he would. Like he was the public defender. Like he wasn't. He knew the kid was going to be guilty. He probably didn't have a. Like they're talking about him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
In this one, the kid is at the he's at his table, at the beginning next to his lawyer, who's a lady, and I was like, oh, interesting. His lawyer's a lady. Are they going to change? Are they going to talk about her throughout it? When they talk about the lawyer, they keep talking about the guy. They just kept
I did not pick up on that.
They kept the original script. They just kept the original script. Like, so to me, this is a lazy movie. Like it is.
Sure.
It looks competent, and that's because it's made by people who are competent. But the whole thing just feels very phoned in to me. Mm. But I like that set me against it. I think that that scene lost an entire star when they're like, well, you saw the lawyer, you saw the kid's lawyer, and I'm like, okay, what are they going to do here? They just start saying he all the time. Like, what were they not even paying attention? Were they not even paying attention to their own movie? It pissed me off.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's go around this table.
Okay.
Juror number 1, trying to run the show, Courtney B. Vance. Love Courtney B. Vance. Relax, Jonesy. You sold me. That guy, that Courtney B. Vance. He's great. Yeah. Ironically, he's not the one in this movie trying to convince someone else of another thing. Next to him is the shy one, played by Ozzie Davis.
Mm-hmm. Different take on the character, for sure.
Different take on the character, but like very similar type of... Like they're playing the character in the same way. It's just, he's not like a little guy who sounds like Piglet. Instead,
he's not nerdy.
Yeah.
He's just quiet.
But he's quiet. He's quiet and shy. Then there's the Public Avenger, who's George C. Scott, who won the Emmy and the Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actor. Which, here's the thing, I'm just gonna say it because this is how I feel, and I'm not necessarily proud of this, but like, because it's a little mean, but like, I feel like this happens a lot where someone wins an award for something, and by winning the award, the people giving the award are saying this person gave the best, in this case, supporting performance. This is the best supporting actor performance of anything this entire year. Mm-hmm. And I hear that, and like, I watched it. It's not even the best supporting performance in this movie. And they're trying to tell me that it's the best of the year for anybody.
Well, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad.
It's not bad. Of course it's not bad. I love George C. Scott. He's great. George C. Scott's fantastic.
He's great casting for this character.
Totally. Yeah. Oh my God, he's amazing casting for the character. That's not my problem.
George C. Scott is absolutely this character type guy.
he one of the problems that I have with the movie, and George C. Scott is one of the places where this became really apparent, is that I feel like all the actors are, some of them, there's 3 groups of them. Some of them are in a movie. Some of them are in a play. And one of them, Tony Danza, is in a sitcom. And there's no consistency with the performances. Like, at least in 54 and 57, like, for any issues that I had with 57, like, the performances are incredibly consistent. Like, everybody's really operating on the same level. And I feel like Sidney Lumet got really consistent performances out of everybody. In this one, like based on what I have learned about William Friedkin's relationship with actors, it doesn't surprise me that he got kind of wildly inconsistent performances out of them. But like George C. Scott, the performance he's giving is a stage performance. There's no subtlety in his performance at all. Whereas you have someone like the Stiff next to him, who's played by Armin Mueller-Stahl, who is beautifully subtle and is amazing to watch on screen, and his performance would never work in the theater because you wouldn't be able to hear anything that he's saying. And but like the fact that they're sitting next to each other is weird and not in an intentional way. And so there are a few people around the table who I think are doing theater, and some people are doing film.
Sure,
we'll get to Tony Danza in a second. But anyway, Armin Mueller-Stahl is fantastic. He's so good. I think he was my favorite performance in this.
Yeah, obviously he's that guy in 1 million things from around this time.
Yeah.
And he's got a thing. Like Armin Mueller-Stahl has got, a thing that he tends to be hired for.
Yeah.
Which is his thing. But it's perfect for this character.
Yeah. Are we going to describe it for everyone? No, because we can't. You just have to see it.
Yeah, you just have to see it. He's like a fancy European man.
Yeah.
That is great for this character. Even like, they're mixing around. Usually this character would not be European, but it's, I don't know. He's fantastic.
Yeah. I think he's my favorite performance. Then the kid is Dorian Harewood, who's in his 40s, which is not my favorite, but like Dorian Harewood's really good. So
I don't think that he's like, I think that they changed the character. Like he's not like insinuated to be, like he's supposed to be younger than all of them.
No.
Yeah, he's just a guy in this one, but like, but still, like, and it's fine.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say really quickly is that clearly in this movie, now I want to be very clear, everything I'm about to say is, I'm speaking ironically, so everyone knows. It is very clear to me that this movie fixed the diversity problem with the story. Because these filmmakers looked at this group of people and they said, 12 white men. Here's what we'll do. We'll have both kinds of people, white men and black men. We've solved it.
Right. I mean, they cast Edward James Olmos. I know you're not there yet, but
we're not there yet.
They cast Edward James Olmos, but he's playing a European guy,
which is, it doesn't work at all.
I mean, no disrespect to the king, Edward James Olmos.
I would never disrespect Edward James Olmos.
Yeah, but like it's not like the choice to cast him as that particular character doesn't work.
Yeah, especially when he's sitting across the table from Armin Mueller-Stahl.
Yeah, right. He's like, that's the guy that's supposed to be the European.
Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so Courtney B. Vance, Ozzie Davis, Dorian Harewood, and we'll get to Michael T. Williamson in a second, but they are the 4 black men who are sitting at the table. Again, they have both types of people. Like,
well, real quick, this is obviously a much larger discussion, but this is, of course, what I mentioned before, my one huge problem, my biggest problem with it. I'm doing air quotes, fix the diversity problem by having 4 of the jurors be black men.
Yeah.
And then they were like, but are we not cowards enough to have there be 4 black men on the jury and then the white man who's a racist like be there? And they're like, no, we're cowards. We're cowards.
Yeah.
And they're like, we'll have one of the black characters be the racist one.
Yeah.
And like, while I'm not against that in principle, that like what I'm saying, it seemed like a very 90s cowardly turn to take, where like they didn't want to have a white racist character there confronting the black characters in the cast. This is just my take on it.
No. I mean,
I think that they were too uncomfortable with that.
Yeah, because you're talking about Michael T. Williamson, who plays the bigot in this one, and they make a very big point about the fact that he is in the Nation of Islam,
or that he used to be. Right. And is not currently, because he says that he said, I used to be, but I didn't see eye to eye with them.
Right.
And my question to you, I am honestly asking, is like, what was that trying to say?
Right.
Were they saying that the point he was making was that he was like too racist for them? or was it something else? Because I honestly don't understand what that was trying to say at all.
It seems that might have been what they were saying, but it does this thing that like it does this thing you're talking about is like they make the most bigoted racist character black so that the other black characters around the table have to go, oh, we're sorry about him.
Yeah. Anyway, I just think it's questionable choice making.
Here's a choice that was not questionable. Casting 35-year-old James Gandolfini.
The least questionable thing in my
yeah, he plays the New Yorker, and he is delivering a James Gandolfini performance. He's amazing, and I got no problems with him.
Yeah, i.e. a perfect performance.
Yes.
Like, what? Every time I watch an old Gandolfini performance now, I'm like, what? He's so good. He's just so incredible. I love, he's so lovable. Like, it's so crazy. And I love how he always he's so good. Like, I feel like he made choices that so purposefully like eschew expectations of what he seems like if you had no idea about any of the character archetypes in this and you watch this for the first time and it comes up and they're showing all the characters, you as a blank slate viewer, I'm sure that you'd be like, well, Gandolfini's gonna be like racist or something, right? Or like you just in any of these, like when you have these expectations for certain character types, or he's going to be like an extra obstinate asshole about his opinion about and sure he is for a little while, but the New Yorker's like convinced basically halfway through, like he's not it's
a
the
monster.
Perfect character for him. Like, yes. it's incredible.
Yeah. So he's great.
I love Gandalf.
And then there's Tony Danza. Now, I was always taught, if you don't have anything nice to say. Look, Tony Danza he's a successful person who has had a very, very long career. And there is not a single thing that I, on this silly little podcast, could say that would ever affect him, and nor should it affect him. He is, Tony Danza has nothing to prove to me.
Yeah.
He's terrible in this movie.
It's slightly one note.
It's awful. It is the worst performance in the movie. And like, is it his fault? No, I think it's William Friedkin's fault. I think it's them casting him. I think he's not right for it. But they go even further. Like, it is very one note. Boy, he's got to get to that baseball game. And what they decide, like, I would love to know who made the decision to have him use the tickets for the game as a constant prop. Like, he's got them out and he's like, everybody, look at these two tickets that I got. I got them right here. And he's got them the whole time. And they're these two beautiful, pristine, big paper tickets. It's too much. It's too much. Like, and that's like that would be something that might play on stage, but it's not something that is at all necessary in a movie.
Yeah, totally.
Tony Danza, I don't know what he was doing.
He's the only other thing I have to say about Tony Danza is that this is the one adaptation that I was watching where Megan passed through the room and she stood near the TV and glanced at the room full of men for a minute, and Tony Danza was speaking at that time, and she was like, "See the boss?" And I thought that was pretty funny.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on from Tony Danza. Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
He's fine. And then Hugh Cronin.
I mean, it's funny, but also that's kind of exactly how I feel. Like,
he's Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon. He's great.
He's just being Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
It's a really good, really compelling performance. The thing that kind of amazed me is that there was a thing that happened after this came out that I had never connected to this particular movie, but it was at the Golden Globes. Do you remember what happened at the Golden Globes?
No.
So another movie that came out, another TV movie or miniseries was the one about Don King starring Ving Rhames.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
At the Golden Globes, Ving Rhames won the Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Miniseries or TV Movie.
Yep.
And he got on stage and he said, "This is not right. I was not the best actor in a TV movie or miniseries. The correct answer was Jack Lemmon in 12 Angry Men. Jack, come up here, please." He made Jack Lemmon come up on stage with him, and he made him take his Golden Globe. Jack Lemmon tried to give it back to him, and he wouldn't accept it. And then Jack Lemmon gave a really weird and awkward speech.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I remember the facts of this.
It's also fine because those things don't matter. Like, they don't matter. So it's fine.
But also, come on.
So Jack Lemmon had the Golden Globe from this year, but he didn't win the Golden Globe.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm pretty sure they print names on it, so his name wasn't on it.
Yeah, but that's a heck of a thing to have. I have Ving Rhames' Golden Globe. He didn't want it. He gave it to me. He said I should have it.
I wonder if Ving Rhames got it back when Jack Lemmon passed away.
I don't know. He probably still wouldn't have taken it.
Probably. He seemed passionate about that. Yeah. No, Jack Lemmon's good. He's fine.
Yeah. Yep. Then there's Hume Cronin next to him as the old man. And he's wonderful. Hume Cronin's great. And
professional old man, Hume Cronin.
Yeah, a guy who was old when he was young. One day he was 12 and then he was old. And then he just played old the rest of his life. He's like, I got nothing else to say about Hume Cronin either. He's fantastic. Like genuinely great. Like no problems with him at all. The only problem I have is that they make him do the same speech about the lady unchanged in 1997. Like it's not like it was okay in 1957 to talk in such a shitty way about women and about how obsessed they are with their physical appearance in public. It wasn't okay then, but there's genuinely no excuse for it in the 1997 version. Like no excuse whatsoever. And they make dear little Hume Cronin deliver this speech about this lady who, you know, for her big first public appearance, doesn't want to have glasses. And also, did you see the way she was dressed? You know, like a harlot. Like that's not, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they're saying. Then there's Michael T. Williamson, who we already talked about before. He's the bigot, who, like, we didn't say this before. I don't know how you felt about it. I thought his performance was fantastic.
Yeah. No, he's always good.
Yeah. Michael T. Williamson's great.
Has there ever been anything that we or you and Ari have ever discussed about Michael T. Williamson on this show before?
I don't think he's ever been in anything we've watched.
He's just so fascinating to me in that, like, obviously for many years, I thought his name was Michael T. Williamson.
Many of us did.
Yes. And then he revealed that it's Michael T. Williamson, and that Michael T. is one word spelled a particular way with the Y and stuff. And I believe he has now said, hopefully you're double checking my work on this one right now.
No, I'm checking to see if he was in anything else we've watched on the show. Nope.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
But
this is his
from
first
what
appearance.
I've always understood is that his name is Michael, spelled the traditional way.
It
like
is.
His legal name is Michael, middle initial T, Williamson. And that's what he wanted to go by. But when he was going to join SAG, they were like, no, there's already a Michael T. Williamson, and you can't be that. You have to change your name. And he said, I don't want to change my name. So he just changed his first name to something that sounds like Michael T.
It's amazing.
It's incredible. What a character. Anyway. Yeah. He's good.
He's good. He's real good. Then there's Edward James Olmos as the immigrant.
Yeah.
And this would work. This would work if not for what they've done to poor Edward James Olmos. Because they told him, I genuinely wonder if this would not surprise me.
Okay.
If he got hired knowing what the part is, because of course he knows what the part is, but he's like, they want me. Well, obviously, they're going to change where the character is from because I am a Latino man.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my thing. I'm really good at it. It's my heritage. It's my, so surely the characters, they're not going to make me play like Eastern European. And then I bet the story I like to think happened is that he didn't find out that is exactly what they intended until it was far too late for him to do anything about it.
Sure.
And he's just like, you know what? I'm a goddamn professional, so I'm going to do the thing they told us to do. So
he is a goddamn professional.
Yeah. And so he is doing he's doing an accent.
He's doing something.
It's not like it is occasional. It's like every 10th word sounds like vaguely European.
Yeah.
But it's just Edward James almost doing an accent. And it's unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah. But then also it's Edward James Olmos, and he's really good.
He's incredibly good.
It's a tough one. It's definitely it's trouble, but it's a lot of things.
Yeah. I don't feel like he was set up for success. Let me put it that way. Much in the same way that I think Tony Danza was not set up for success.
Sure.
And then finally, there's William Peterson as the ad man, who we can say the least about because he's present. He's fine.
Yeah,
he's fine.
It's an odd casting choice. I mean, like, I maybe this is just because I am only thinking about how I see William Peterson now, like decades of CSI or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, not that I've even really ever watched CSI, but like, you know, it's an interest. The idea of him playing this kind of character just feels off, but like, you know, it's okay for people to play against type. But my point being, I said, I guess I don't actually know what his type was in 97. So, you know,
but he's fine.
Yeah.
They just, this one made me so mad. And I haven't really been trying very intentionally through our discussion of it to try to convince you, but I feel like we've hit on a lot of points.
Yeah. You don't need to convince me. Like, I think we've both realized that, like, you don't need to convince me, and I don't need to convince you on our respective feelings about this one, because it's like we're in agreement. It's just that it was enough for you to dislike it.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm like, nah, it's still like cool actors doing cool stuff. So it's fine.
I know I said it before, but like it is so important, and I just think it bears repeating. Like, it was already stretching plausibility that the jury was all men in the 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Here, it's distracting and problematic in a way that really doesn't sit well with me, because the story should work with characters of any type.
Sure.
Because they represent universal aspects of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily have to just be men.
Right.
I mean, at least this one proved that they could be one of both types of men.
I think it's basically like obvious, other than the obvious just general sexism, I think it also just comes down to the like, well, we're not changing the title. So
yeah, and like that's got to be the thing you got to be willing to change. Like, you just got to change it. You just got to change it. Just do it. Yeah. If you want to update it, if you want to adapt it, I was actually thinking this before, like, do it as a period piece, but like it doesn't even work because it was already stretching plausibility.
Yeah.
It works as well as it could work, given the fact that it's not a realistic story. But this one is trying to be realistic, and it's trying to put it in the real world.
You know what? The first of all, like, I've been thinking it the whole time that we've been recording, and all the problems that we've discussed about attempts to update it in the 97 and stuff like that. It's that this is ready for a new adaptation. Like, yeah, so ready. And but I agree, like, that I still think it's better if it's short. Mm-hmm. So, you know, that, like, I just wish there was some kind of like anthology show that an adaptation of this could be a part of, you know. Yeah. Or we could just start doing like interesting short, only hour-long like specials on streaming services and stuff. Like, that would be cool. But you know, or just make it into another hour-and-a-half movie.
Yeah. Well, so that's another thing, is that, like, I think this story is perfect at 60 minutes. It's almost too long at 90 minutes. It's definitely too long at 2 hours. And the 1997 one is 2 hours.
Exactly.
And it doesn't even add much. It's just everything takes longer. Yep. And it's insufferable.
So many more bathroom scenes.
So they're in the bathroom a lot. There's like side meetings happening in the bathroom.
And don't get me wrong, like, Gandolfini does some of his greatest work in the bathroom, but
yes,
it's still too much bathroom stuff. But no, this would be great with a new adaptation with some women in the cast, or, you know, like, just even more diversity.
Like, let's start there, and like, let's kind of branch out as well. Like,
yeah, no, totally. And it would be like a really interesting, like, I would love to see this essentially the same plot adapted with those kinds of thoughts, you know, at hand. And it's you know what the coolest thing about adapting a courtroom, like a jury room story to modern times is, because you think about the problem that you usually have when making an adaptation to a modern time. You're like, oh, what about the phones?
Yes,
they can't have their phones, right? It's great. That's why it would be, like, it would be perfect. And that's why a period piece is unnecessary, you know, because it still works. It's great.
Yeah.
Somebody should do it.
One last little thing before we finish this up. There is that central point about the switchblades in it. And I was really mad because one of the things that I was thinking about is they don't change that in the 1997 one. It's like the kid, like one of the central plot points is that he's like good with a switchblade knife. You know how kids are always having knife fights. And I thought, that's not in 1997. That's ridiculous. That's like a 50s thing. That's why it's in the 50s version. And then I started doing some searches and I started Googling like when did kids stop having knife fights and with switchblades? And then, but like, come to find out, because I never really thought about it that much, is like, no, they never did. It was all just moral panic and something that was in West Side Story, and all the laws about like against switchblades were just because of people overreacting about something that didn't actually happen. So Danny, what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the image of you Googling when did kids stop having fights with switchblades. It's very funny to me. What a thing the things we find ourselves Googling, you know?
Yeah. All right. It's time to deliver our verdict to the courtroom. The 1954 version is great. 1957, do you think that they are guilty of caring about the original?
Yes.
Yes. Guilty, obviously. Reginald wrote every single one of these. Are they also guilty of making a successful movie?
Guilty.
Yes, guilty. 1997, do you think they are guilty of caring about the original?
Yes, guilty.
You think? I think not guilty.
I think they cared about the original.
I don't think William Friedkin gives a shit about the 1954 version. Like, I don't think anything that drove them...
This is the trouble with all these ones where the actual... most iconic one isn't the first one.
I know, right? I think it is very clear, based on the evidence that I have seen up until now, that they did not care about the 54 version. And
okay, fine, not guilty. I was really excited to only say not guilty once.
I know.
But anyway.
But are they guilty of making a successful movie?
No, not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Well, this has been Adapter Parish. If you'd like to find us online, head to adapterparishcast.com. There you'll find our email address, links to the show on Mastodon and Blue Sky, and more. All of this feels very weird to talk about, given that, like, the show, all that stuff still exists. It's just that we're not going to be making new episodes anymore, except for obviously next episode, which will be the last. We are still on Patreon. I'm going to leave the Patreon page up. People can still follow us for free there. And if anybody does want access to all of the bonus shows from years past, like, become a patron for a month, download all of them, like, go for it, because they're pretty fun, and there's a lot that Ari did, and there's a bunch that you and I did, so that's fun. But the Patreon page is going to stay up, and continue telling people about the show. Why not? Because people can always go back and listen to any of these episodes whenever they want to. Leave ratings and reviews. Why not? The show's still good. I'm still proud of it. You're all great. Thank you all so much for supporting us all of this time and for listening. And it's been a joy to do. And I'm excited to do the final episode and bring that all to you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.